Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 8 o'clock, so we're going to start the meeting, but before we do, I'd just like to put you in the picture, so to speak. This is an extraordinary meeting called with the required 3 clear days' notice and signed by 2 members of this council. The intention of this short meeting is to bring Markfield Parish Council to a position from which it can be seen to operate lawfully. The agenda includes an election of chairman and a vice chairman, consideration application for co-option and request for a dispensation. Mr. Kilkenny, sorry, I can't remember, is present from the LC to assist with this meeting in the absence of the clerk. Members of the public should be aware that they may observe the meeting, but may only make comments about items in the agenda during item 10. A maximum of 15 minutes will be allowed for public participation. The meeting will be recorded for the purposes of the minutes, after which the recording will be destroyed. So if you're all clear about that, we can start the meeting. And the first item on the agenda is to elect a chairman. I have one nomination for post of chairman. Are there any other nominations? No? So I propose then that Councillor Crook be accepted as chairman. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Are you all in favour?
Yes.
Yeah. That's carried then. So you are chairman. So you take my chair and I'll take yours because I've got the desk. Once you've signed your paper, you sign your paper.
For the benefit of the meeting, Councillor Crook will sign his declaration of acceptance of office, and it needs to be done in the presence of either the proper officer of the council, who isn't here today, or a member of council. So, yes please. So, do you want to do another one? If you're not sure. Okay, so you sign this one. Okay, and then Councillor Brown would like to witness that, please. If I can remind those who are chatting at the back, please, this is a public meeting. Thank you very much.
The next item is to... Sorry.
You've got your
Right, item 3 on the agenda is to elect a vice chairman. Could I have any nominations, please?
I'd like to nominate Councillor McCall.
I'll second that.
I'll
Folks?
second that, Mr. Chairman. Yes.
Okay. Please.
Thank you very much. Right, on to item 5, to confirm the minutes of the council meeting held on the 6th of December. Now, I'd like to start the ball rolling with that. You may recall that I attended the meeting late, so it should be recorded that my arrival was during item 138, unless anyone disagrees with that. I'm not sure if it makes a difference. I also did send in an apology in case I didn't make it at all.
If the members of council are happy with that, are there any other comments about the minutes from members of council?
No.
So with the amendment that Councillor Crook arrived during item 138, are you happy to approve these minutes? Everybody in favour? So if you can initial the amendment there, please. And then if you can sign each page, or initial each page and then sign at the end. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much.
Item 6, to receive and approve apologies. I haven't got any of them, so we've moved straight to item 7. To receive declarations of interest on items on the agenda. None of them.
No? Okay.
So item 8, to consider applications for a co-option. So I don't think he's made it tonight. No. So I propose we consider the co-option of Mr. Sprayson.
Who has sent an application, he is eligible to be co-opted onto council.
Is there anyone second?
Are you proposing?
I'll propose it, yeah.
I'll second.
And a show of hands. In favour?
So Mr. Sprayson will be asked to sign his declaration of acceptance of office at some point prior to the next meeting. And as with the new chair and vice chair, that can be done in the presence of a member of council or the presence of an improper officer, as is appropriate.
So item number 9, to consider the request for dispensations. There's one that exists, which is mine. It is with regards to my DPI on the community centre, whereas my partner has paid employment at the centre. In accordance to our standing orders, it needs to be approved by a proper officer, who we know is off sick at the moment. So our monitoring officer has stepped in to that role and has approved it. In order to comply with our code of conduct, which is very different to our standing orders, it needs to be approved by this council also.
So for the benefit of council, the matter for which a dispensation is required is any matter relating to Markfield Community Centre. For the reason the Councillor Crook has already given, the dispensation is sought until May 2023, which is the next scheduled election, and the dispensation is to participate in any discussion on that matter and any vote on that matter, for the reason being that otherwise council would not have enough members to actually take part in any discussion. And even with your newly co-opted member, should anyone be missing, then you'll be back in that same situation. So, as Councillor Crook has said, the monitoring officer at Hinckley and Bosworth Borough Council has approved this in the absence of a proper officer. It's just a case of whether you're happy to go ahead with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to propose that we move on to the public section of the meeting. Could that be seconded, please?
Second.
Thank you all for coming to the meeting tonight. As you're probably aware, it's being filmed. If anyone's got any comments or questions they're nervous about asking in front of the camera, I can't ask them to turn it off, but you can approach me privately if you'd like to afterwards. Is there any questions?
Yes, please. You've approved a set of minutes where there are 17 recorded questions that were shared in the public section of the last meeting, none of which have been...
Sorry over this, please, Mr Taylor. Could you stand up while you're speaking to the council, please? Thank you.
None of which have been addressed, and most of which have been formally requested a reasonable answer. Is there any reason why they have been totally disregarded and this council has decided in their infinite wisdom to bypass the comments of the public, the concerns of the public, and just breeze on through this meeting?
The accuracy of the minutes is the decision of the council, not members of the public.
But if I might interject there, the accuracy of the minutes is certainly contained within the filmed version of the event, and I think it's fairly clear during that filmed version of the event the legitimacy of the questions, ranging from the Ratby Lane planning question through to the other questions relating to this place and other matters. So it defies me and probably some of the other members of the public who are here how our voice can be dismissed so casually.
But that still doesn't change the fact the accuracy of the minutes are down to the council, not members of the public.
If I may come in to help with the answer now.
Could you all speak up a little bit, please? I'm slightly deaf.
If you look at the agenda, the issues arising from previous minutes or previous meetings, they're not down for the discussion this evening. The purpose of this meeting, as Councillor Browning informed me at the beginning, is to make sure that this council is seen to be acting lawfully. If there are issues that are coming up on that particular area, then it's likely that they will be addressed in another meeting.
Well, let me refer you to something else then, John, because...
Mr Taylor, can you speak to the chair of the meeting, please?
Chair, let me offer you something else then. On the 8th of June 2021, Markfield Parish Council adopted a community engagement statement of intent. Within that statement of intent, it says, all meetings are open to the public and a period is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for public participation relating to the items on the agenda. Now, up until this meeting this evening, item 5 has, right back as far as I can check minutes back, been the agenda item straight after apologies for public participation. It could be construed, and I'm sure you'll contest that it hasn't, that you have specifically made it the last item on the night so that the public cannot question your actions.
That's ridiculous.
And I would also raise, whilst we're on the same subject, this community engagement statement that you've adopted sets out in a lot of detail how closely you're going to work with residents, businesses, community groups and the public. I suggest that you would all do well to give it a read.
Actually, got a copy in front of me.
Because if you're not going to work by it or engage with us, then perhaps you'd do us the good courtesy of removing it from your standing orders and papers.
Duly noted. Have you got any questions regarding tonight's agenda, please, Mr Taylor?
I think this is all relevant to tonight's agenda.
If I may, I'd like to ask a question.
Of course, Mr
It's
Bell.
regarding the recording of this meeting in audio for purposes of the minutes. Can you confirm whether this falls under GDPR or not? Because as I understand GDPR, this council is a data collector and you, Chair, are, in this respect, I would say, a data controller.
What data are you referring to?
So, I intend to make an FOI for that audio recording within the 30 days that's required. I think you confirm that, would you, Clark? You don't know. You don't know. So if that's destroyed, I'll be reporting you to the relevant authorities.
Duly noted, Mr. Bird. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions regarding tonight's agenda?
Can you tell me why this one meeting wasn't publicised to the community of Markfield? All it was done was put on Facebook. It has not been publicised to the community of Markfield.
Forgive me, Mr. Broughton, is it?
Broughton.
All our meetings are advertised on the Parish Council website.
But it's not. People don't look at the parish council. What about people that haven't got the internet? Or things like that? Why hasn't it been put on? You've got a notice board in the main street and it's not been put on there. It should be publicised to everybody in the community.
Yeah, you might be unaware that our normal proper officer and clerk is on sick leave.
That's not what. There's you lot there. It don't take one person, there's plenty of you sitting there doing nothing. Why can't you do that? It's one little bit of paper that you put up, there's a meeting tonight.
Can I ask, was it put on a notice board?
I believe Helen has been backfilling some of the roles, but yes.
Yes, it was publicised.
I will confirm which notice board it was placed on and let you know.
It's not on your website. The meetings are not being publicised to the community.
One speaker at a time, please.
Your meetings are not being publicised to the community of this village.
Well, they are.
You know.
I think they are. That's not true, they are.
Well, you tell me whether they've been publicised then.
On our website, and I'll send to you, I'll confirm to you which notice board it's been placed on.
We need to check.
What more can I do than that?
If you've not got the internet, or you've not got a computer, then you don't know. Why can't you put it up on your notice board in the village?
I've just said we're sure it has been.
It's not.
And I said I'll confirm to you which one it has been placed on.
It's not been put up.
You're saying it hasn't, I'm saying it has. Have you got any further questions?
Could I make a suggestion on that
Can we have
respect?
one speaker at a time, please?
I'll finish.
Okay, thank you.
If I could make a suggestion on that, it seems to me that common sense says put notification of parish council meetings and an agenda would help in the post office. I'm sure they'd oblige you for the community.
I'll make note of your suggestion, Mr. Bird.
Thank
you
you.
very much. Any further questions on tonight's agenda?
Chair.
Sorry, after you,
Sorry, you said
Sorry, can you just...
you said the agenda was on the website. It's not there unless you can show me where.
Well, it was because I downloaded the agenda tonight just before leaving.
I've got the minute.
Sorry, you mean notification
Notification,
of this meeting?
Meetings, yeah.
It's on the agendas and meetings section.
I've got that. Yeah, I can't see
Again,
it.
that is probably down to the sick leave of the clerk, so we're relying on a part-time
So yeah,
secretary
go back to the
assistant,
point.
so apologies, we'll make sure it's done next
The
time.
information's not gone out there then.
I think he's talking about the post. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
The early date shows the 11th of April.
Yeah, if you look at, sorry, let me stand up. If you look at your website on the agenda and meetings page, it's in reverse. So the first meeting is at the bottom and the last meeting in 2023 is at the top. Helpful.
We'll see if we can get that changed.
I can actually see it. I can see the notification and the agenda of minutes, so I can show you at the end if you'd like.
Yeah, but what Mr. Singh is saying, he comes to the first part on the website and it's April the 23rd, which I believe is cancelled, postponed.
Mr Taylor?
It might be inappropriate, but we'll have a go. I'm sure we'll try and close it down. Because we have no other opportunity to put this forward, item 11 is to consider items for the agenda of the next meeting. A group of residents have written formally to the parish council, each individual councillor in detail, about asking for an open meeting to discuss the future of this place. To date, we haven't had the courtesy of a reply. Could that possibly be an agenda item on the next meeting, please?
Yes, I believe Councillor Lambert's preparing a statement, is that correct?
Yes, I'm preparing a report to come onto the agenda for the next meeting on the future of this place.
And will that be in the public
Yes.
element?
Yeah.
Brilliant, Chris.
Okay.
Any further questions?
I just have one about the seats that are remaining for co-option. Do you want to stand up there, my standing? What's happening with the next seats for co-option? What are you doing? Are they going out to people? Are we not co-opting the chairs? What exactly is happening?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the advice is we can carry on co-opting right up to the election, so we'll consider any applications that come through to us.
Will that be on the website advertised as a seat? You know, would the public know about that?
Just be careful that you clerk as a proper officer.
Just hold on, please. Hopefully the sick leave ends tomorrow for Lorraine. Hopefully she'll be back. If not, we'll make other arrangements to advertise it.
Okay.
Just be minded that the clerk, you weren't there, so you wouldn't have heard this, Chair. The clerk at the 6th of December did categorically state that 35 minutes and 50 seconds into the filmed version that's now available for everybody to see,
I know some people have watched it.
that she had from the monitoring officer or the electoral officer confirmation that we could not co-opt any further people on Markfield Parish Council. Now I know that John Kilkenny's view is that you need bums on seats, because that's a conversation him and I have had on the phone, but I would question the validity of you being able to overrule that statement that your clerk or proper officer made on the evening, and if you can overrule it, then I would question how far up the chain you're going to go to overrule either the monitoring officer or the electoral officer. So it might be worth just doing a bit of homework on that, Chair, before you get too excited about co-opting another group of people this side of the election.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Mr Taylor. I've made a note of it. Obviously, without Lorraine here, it's hard to get clarity on her position.
It's not. If you watch that film, 35 minutes and 50 seconds is
No,
dead.
I'm not disputing what you're saying.
No, what you said.
I'm not
Did you
disputing
not,
it at
Chris?
all.
Yeah?
Yes, she categorically
It's
said,
on tape.
because it was within 6 months.
One speaker at a time, just getting out of control.
Clearly are disputing it.
Well, could I ask the clerk
Not at the
to?
moment, you can't, I'm afraid.
We have some expertise
I'm
here.
finishing this gentleman's question first, please, Mr Bird. Just settle down. Until Lorraine's back, then I can't get clarity on her situation, can I?
I don't understand her situation. It's very simple. A statement was made by the clerk and proper officer of this elected body, who is your guidance, effectively, as John is your guidance this evening, in a film recorded session that she was aware was being recorded. She made a categoric, detailed, definitive statement to the people that were there and to the other members of the council who actually sit here as well. Am I correct, councillors? Is that not what she said? That she couldn't, that you could not
I'm not disputing that, Mr Taylor.
No.
So she got the information, she refers to the source, and I can't just off the top of my head.
Further discussion is needed within council.
Yeah, it's duly noted, and I appreciate
It was
that.
Julie Kenny.
Can I just ask a question, please, Chair? I know you're probably going to throw it out. I need to ask it because I've emailed you, I've asked it clearly. You're still open. Is this place safe for us to be here? is it safe for my child to come here, use your toilet, use your facilities, because as a Markfield resident, I was pointed that there was 32 health and safety issues.
Yeah,
And I know you're going to try and shut me down and say, no, it's not on the agenda, but I think we're all in agreement that we're really concerned about that.
That is a valid question. I'm not going to shut you down at all. Thank you, Mr. Burrows. Yes, I can say this place is safe. I can also reassure you that if that was to change, we'd shut it without a doubt. We would not keep this place open if it was unsafe. Just to let you know, we've had confirmation that we can keep it open from Leicester County Council compliance team. We're working closely with them. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, there's no denying that, but they're guiding us, we're following their guidance, and as long as that continues, it will stay open safely unless we find otherwise.
Okay, can I question that again? Well, when you have that next meeting, we will be allowed to be the opportunity of sharing that as residents, as our input as well, and our involvement.
In what way? What do you mean?
In being participating in what the decision is, because it's a huge asset to our village, and we'd all love to see it as a real community hub, and the good of everybody, and we know it needs a lot of money, and our parish council can't afford to do that. So it would be nice to have a great community centre for us all, and I think that would be really helpful if you could choose some residents to be part of a team to make that decision going forward.
Yeah, nothing's set in stone yet. It's not been discussed in council, but it has been discussed amongst us to bring it to the public for discussion.
Good.
At the moment, we'll go more into it in the next meeting, but just to answer your question, there's not many options available. We're trying to gather up the information, trying to gather up all the options that are out there, and then bring that to the people of Markfield
Okay.
to discuss further. That's the intention. Chris, did you want to?
Yeah, just to say I'll bring a report to the next meeting. This was an award-winning community centre, and that's what I want it to be again. And we can't do that on our own. We need the community's help.
In the 1990s, I had my wedding centre. I know it was good, and it can be again, but it needs a lot of money. So in that case, although you're in your discussions, can you have the courtesy to send me an email in regards to saying that you're at least working on it? Because up until now, I've had zero response. So I'd just like to be heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I propose we close the public section of this meeting.
Second.
Right. Item 11, to consider items of the agenda for the next meeting. Would you like to start? Have you got anything?
Well, obviously, to propose, we discussed the budget.
Yeah, the budget's quite a priority one, isn't it?
And the future of Markfield Community Centre Chair, I'm happy to put something together to be considered that.
I would like to, if I'm allowed, I'll check this out afterwards, I'd like to bring to the council the review of the neighbourhood plan.
Yes, I think that is an important issue that needs to go on.
Lorraine had some concerns of it not going to planning and highway, but obviously because planning and highway is not sitting at the moment, I think it needs to bring report to full council.
Yeah, because we've only got until September.
Yes.
Chair, do you also need to consider the membership of subcommittees?
Yes. I think each subcommittee will need to
We need to
review
review
it.
all those subcommittees, don't we? So we need some new appointments.
What goes alongside the neighbourhood plan is the government's planning reform consultation. I'd like us to consider our formal response to that. Any other suggestions?
I think that might keep us quite busy, but
It's quite a considerable agenda that is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Now, before, on to item 12, because we haven't received an extension of the sick note, do you think it's worth waiting to find out if we're going to be back before discussing the next meeting date?
Chair, I'm concerned we have had feedback from the community about the number of meetings we've been setting and then cancelling and rearranging. I would rather we didn't set a date until we're certain that that meeting can go ahead, and I think we need to understand Lorraine's position before we do that. We clearly have pressures with regards to timing on the budget, so we can't push it back. And there's people with valid questions who want to make a contribution, and we need
It's
to
tomorrow, isn't it?
bear that in mind.
Could you just,
We're in closed session now, please.
Could
no
we
speak.
just make-
Mr. Taylor, please start.
So I would rather than wait to set the next meeting once we know we're arranged.
Can you just check, what is the deadline? Is it the 30th for the precept?
You need to have your Hinckley and Bosworth Borough Council would like it in by the end of the month. Yes. So as long as so you'll be looking at another extraordinary meeting rather than a scheduled meeting, in which case, because you now have a chairman, the calling of the extraordinary meeting will be done by the chairman, but in conjunction with the three of you and your additional member. But that will be called at your discussion. And again, with the usual 3 days notice. Okay, so your next date is to be confirmed and advertised as required.
Yeah.
I propose we close the meeting then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you stopped recording? The camera's still recording.